last week we talked about, kind of in general terms, what lockout tagout is. I was wondering if this week, if you could actually look at some of the different protective devices we have here and explain how they would be used.
Sure, absolutely, Bill. One of the ones that I see most commonly used is the circuit breaker devices. These are very simple to use, they're very cheap. You can buy a bag of these things, and it's easy to use these to lock out your power source if that's the only source of energy you have for a piece of equipment. Say a piece of equipment that's downline that we just want to shut it off there, we don't have a knife switch or some other type of disconnect that we can do. So this simple device, all we have to do is place it right on the breaker itself. There's a little screw tab here that tightens it up so that it locks that little tab in place there. And then the top folds down over the top of the screw tab, giving us basically a little tab there, or a little lockout. From there, we can use any number of devices. We can use a gang hasp on here, open this up. That would lock over the top of it. You take a padlock on top of that and lock that out. And once that's done, this item is secured so that nobody can actuate this breaker. And this ensures us that basically it won't re-energize at that point. They've also got ones where you can do basically double breaker setup. They also have ones where if you've got a 3-phase breaker in there where you can do all 3 poles on your circuit breaker. And they even have ones for light switches that are really simple to use. If you have one on a common basis where you have to lock something out that's a light switch, take off the wall plate. This installs using the same mounting screws over there, and when we want to shut that power source off, simply flip the top over and again use that locking mechanism that's on there. So these are some real simple ways that we see commonly used to protect employees. And then the most critical part about it is making sure not only that it's correctly applied, but then the next part is testing it. So once we've applied it, we want to make sure that we go through the same procedure that we would normally start up that piece of equipment with the protective devices in place to make sure that they won't fail. So whether that's flipping a knife switch or flipping a wall switch, we want to make sure that we physically can't do that to restart that piece of equipment.
Okay, so now we've got the piece of equipment locked out, tagged out. You have the device on there to shut all the power off to it. Is there anything else that would have to be done to that piece of equipment before you start working on it? I know you mentioned maybe restarting it.
So that's just one piece of that puzzle. The other part of it too is going through and making sure that there's no other energy sources or no other stored energy that's in that piece of equipment. Again, we talked earlier about chemical energy, thermal energy, something as simple as burning yourself on an exhaust manifold. That would be something we want to make sure we have time to cool it down. Still kind of in that lockout tagout realm. We also want to look at things that are under tension, springs, pulleys, things under weight, where once we release tension on something that we don't have an unexpected consequence where that piece of machinery moves or a gear moves and entangles an employee. So we want to go through that entire piece of equipment and make sure all of those pieces of mechanical energy have been dissipated before we start working
So
on it.
basically cycle that piece of equipment through one of its cycles to make sure
Exactly.
the stored energy is now released and it is safe to go in and work on that piece of equipment?
Correct. And there are some occasions, depending on the type of equipment, where you have a moving assembly where you actually have to block it in place to prevent it from moving, because by locking it out we can't actuate a revolution, but by blocking it, putting some type of a piece of a timber or some type of device designed for that manufacturer to block it would be the easiest way to make sure that we can safeguard that equipment.
Got it. Sounds good. I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you very much. And if you wouldn't mind, we'd love to have you back next week to maybe go over a few other items that we have here, protective safety items we have.
Sounds great.
Okay, thanks, Chris.